everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 819, Airbnb Decisions and American Dorks. Hello, Big Chillians, and welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Yeah, things are going well. How are you? Look who just woke up. Delayed our recording time by an hour.
Yeah, sorry. I had to wake up at 7 a.m. So late in the morning.
That's a lazy start.
It was a lazy start. Yeah, we had a playoff hockey game last night, and then I was in charge of the beers, so that's kind of what kept us there. So when you're in charge of the beers, you have to bring the cooler, you have to fill it, and then you have to wait for everyone to drink the entire cooler of beers. So you can't dip out early on the night. You can't have like one or two and dip out. So
okay,
and that's
like a hard and fast rule. So you couldn't.
It's like an unwritten rule. Like okay. I guess technically I could be like, hey guys, I've got to. The thing is, I don't have excuses. Like I don't have kids. It's not like hey, I got to pick my kid up or like something like that. So.
Parents don't know how easy they've got it.
Yeah.
Just ready-made excuse at any moment at time that no one can
I am,
argue
11
with.
p.m. in a fucking hockey rink parking lot drinking Miller High Lifes.
That's a terrible life. Parenting is so much easier.
Yeah. No, but it's actually kind of nice because I felt bad because I had joined this team for like the whole summer basically now. I think I missed like the first 2 games, but basically I played like 12 games at least with the team. And every week someone brings beers, but for a while I wasn't in the group chat. So like in the group chat, it's like, hey, who's got beers, blah, blah, blah. So then I got added. We had like a mini second season and I got added, but everyone had already said, like, they would say like, here's a game, I've got beers. And then this week, finally someone was like, hey, who's got the beers? I was like, oh, let me get them. Like, I haven't gotten them yet. So I at least got to go. But you would appreciate the beer selection that they like is slightly a little rough. Like, don't be coming in thinking you're getting like a nice little IPA or even maybe a nice lager. It's usually Busch Light.
Perfect.
I'm trying to think what's the other. Busch Light is a big one. Miller High Life. High Noons are a popular choice. Like to mix a Busch Light with a High Noon.
I'm not opposed to a seltzer, but if I'm just having beers, I just want to have beers. I don't really want to mix anything else in with it.
Well, after a game, you're dehydrated,
Yeah, of course. How many people on the team?
Usually like 8 show up a week.
And how many beers then are you expected to bring?
So I brought a 24-pack of Busch Light, a 12-pack of Miller, and a 12-pack of Nooners.
Okay, so 5-ish drinks
like
each,
48,
basically.
Yeah. But you got to figure 2 people dip out really early, and then like usually 2 more will have like 3. But like it's impressive. People put down beers pretty quick. It's Minnesota. I've grown to learn this pretty quickly here. But,
I'm looking forward to getting to sample the local Minnesotan beers.
Yeah, there's a lot of breweries, but it was Busch Light we'll have all day. Actually, Hams is like the I don't know what to call it. Like it's kind of like the pride of Minneapolis because that's where Hams came from, and that's one of the oldest beers in America. So actually, really cool. We'll give some reviews once you come. But one of the cool breweries is they took Hams Brewery, and it's now called St. Paul Brewery, but they have all the old Hams stuff in there, which is really cool. And you get to see the stuff from like the 40s and the 50s, which is kind of neat. But you're just going to actually miss a game. I know you asked last week if you're going to see one. I think it's going to be the first week without a game.
Oh, heartbreak.
Yeah.
Heartbreak.
I would have to get an extra 12-pack if you came.
Probably a 24-pack.
Or you show up with the beers. Ultimate power move. The fan comes with the cooler.
For myself. And I don't let anyone touch them.
Sorry, guys. These aren't for you. I don't know if you thought it was for you. But
these are personal beers. I organized this myself. But yeah, no, that's a shame. But I'm sure we'll have plenty of other stuff to to do anyway. So
Actually, speaking, Eddie, of hockey and travel and trips, I have a little bit of like a Reddit slash Ask Rosillo kind of question that popped up in my other circle, my other hockey group, my Arizona group. So we do the tournaments every few months, I guess, with that hockey team that I have in Arizona. And there's one coming up in Phoenix next week. And normally we get like a huge Airbnb and everyone just hangs out in the Airbnb. And then it's like 10 minutes from the rink. So we'll go play a few games, come back, hop in the pool, cook, whatever. Super fun time. I got a text. So I'm the only one that's like really traveling. Actually, our goalie is traveling from London. So he's got the furthest travel. But
yeah,
besides
he's really
him,
traveling.
yeah, besides him, I've got the most significant. Everyone else is coming from Tucson. So it's like him and I are legit traveling. So I got a text. So the tournament is in 10 days. I got a text 3 days ago saying, "Hey man, sorry to tell you, but we don't have a spot for you in the Airbnb." I was like, "Wow, great, thanks guys." The only guy who's like, besides the goal, who's really traveling, just got booted out of the Airbnb. And apparently, I guess they had set it up while they were playing games or whatever, like in the local league, and kind of, I guess, either probably forgot about me or whatever. But then I got uh into it a little more, and I found out how they're breaking up this Airbnb. So, all right, let me break it down for you. So, there's 6 bedrooms in this house, right? 5 of the bedrooms are like real legitimate bedrooms. So, like king size bed, queen size bed, and then 1 bedroom has 2 bunk beds, so you can fit 4 people in it. So there are people coming who are bringing like their wife and even their kids. So those people who have like the wife have priority with a bedroom with like a king bed or whatever. And the people who are just coming solo are going to stay in that extra bedroom. When the prices came out, everyone is paying the same amount to stay at the Airbnb. So the guy who's staying in a room with 3 other grown men over 30 years old is paying the same amount as the guy who's staying in a king size bed in his own bedroom, but also has another person that they're bringing.
Yeah, that's tough. Uh, as you know, I when I organize our group trips, and we do have people who occasionally will have their own room and those who don't, but those are in hotels. In that instance, I still just usually take the path of least resistance and just everyone pays the same. I think if you're the organizer there of the Airbnb, someone has to take a sort of executive decision there and basically come up with a price per bed scenario. So the room sharing if you're in
Yes.
bunk bed sharing that, then that bed is $50 a night. If you've got your own double bed in a private bedroom, that's $100 a night. I
Yeah.
think you got to start thinking
Yes.
like that way.
I think you either have to do it price per room, and then depending on how many people are in that room, you just divide it up, or you do price per person. Because I also don't think it's fair that someone else brings like a significant other and they don't chip in at all to the cost of the room.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like, well, if you didn't bring your significant other, you would have to sleep in the shitty room. So you bring your significant other, so you get a room upgrade for the same price. It's slightly unfair.
Agreed. I mean, I'll also say this. If I were a parent and that's a no kid scenario. You've got to say, if you're bringing your kids, find your own accommodation. Like, this is significant others, fair enough. You can kind of keep the dynamic the same, but it's also just kind of shitty I'm assuming there's some relatively youngish guys probably on the team, or no? What's
28.
Yeah. So let's say you were a 28-year-old single guy. Very, very different dynamic on the trip then when the Airbnb now also includes a family of 4.
Well,
That's not.
let me put it this way: you're not like picking up women at the rink and bringing them back to the Airbnb.
Why not?
That's not how the weekend works.
No, but still, you know what I mean. Just in terms of the environment within the house and, what I would hope to get out of a trip like that. I think it would be tough for me. I wouldn't want to be
You
in a
really hate
scenario.
kids, huh?
No, I like kids. It's just they got a time and a place, you know.
No, the kids part is fine. I mean, for the most part, there's like 2 or 3 families that bring their kids, so like all the kids will play together, and then they usually, I mean, we just stay in the pool and drink all day anyway, and then the kids eventually go to bed, and we just continue to stay and drink. So the kids don't add much of a of. I just think it's the fact that because now I'm so glad that I'm not staying in that place, not because there's kids and stuff, because I did not want to stay in a room with 3 other dudes that I know 2 of them are enormous snorers and staying in like a bunk bed, like potentially having this bunk bed drop above me when someone's sleeping in it.
Yeah, no, there's got to be a little bit more dynamic pricing in that scenario because it is a little unfair on someone if they're you could feel a bit hard done by. And I get it when you're in a group environment, you're not you're just wanting to enjoy yourself, and it's quite possible that no one really deep down honestly cares. But it's also that I think the people who should care are the people getting the much better deal. Like it would actually make I would probably not be as bothered as the person feeling a bit ripped off. You just sort of write it off. You win some, you lose some. It's my idea on tabs or whatever. But when you're the one really benefiting, I think that's where I would feel guilty. So I would want to keep insisting like, oh no, I'll pay more or I'll get this. And I think that would actually slightly spoil the experience as well. So I think everybody loses to a certain extent.
Now let me throw a little spanner here in the works. What if you have another person now who sleeps on the couch? How does that work then in that scenario? Is that considered a bedroom? Because let me also put it this way. The couch is tough because you'll have people who will stay up till like 3 in the morning drinking. So you don't really ever have a space you can go sleep yourself. You kind of just have to fall asleep and have a person like next to you drinking.
The couch, you're taking on a big responsibility. You're staying, you need to be the last one up and the first one up because you also are inconveniencing people in the morning if you're
Yeah.
just asleep on the couch while everyone's trying to especially with kids around and like, no, don't go in the living room. Frank's still
Yeah.
asleep on the couch. Like that's,
Bah, bah, bah on your head.
you need to pick the right person for that particular task because I mean,
Is that just a free stay?
I think let's get another accommodation. Like what's going on here? That's what really this comes down to is get multiple Airbnbs or start getting hotel rooms. Like that's where you really, you know, I mean, there's no shortage of available accommodation in the area, right? So that would be the real, if I were getting pushed in the direction of the couch, that's a no brainer. I'll just book a hotel room. Don't worry about it. Now, before we get on to this week's NFL previews and predictions, I guess we can, one of the biggest sporting events of the biannual calendar on this week.
Biannuals in every other year, not biannuals in twice a year.
Who knows? Can be used interchangeably.
Well, how are you using it?
Every other year, yeah. The Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black in the U.S., taking place just outside New York, currently underway with Europe off to a pretty hot start, 4 up in 2 four bowls and 1 up in one of the others in all square. So a chance for a reasonably dominant morning at the very least. This is 2-2 at this stage is the U.S. doing well on the back 9. I
Yeah,
watched a fair amount.
I was gonna ask if you wanted to do a burger and a pint, USA versus Europe, but after seeing these scores, I don't know if I want to ask that anymore.
Still a long way to go, and the last few Ryder Cups have had teams blow leads, right? Usually the
Yes, they
U.S.
have.
So there's no reason to think that the first morning is an indication of how the rest is to go. I've consumed a lot this morning. I watched, I was tuned in early, watching some of the previews, watched the first sort of 4 or 5 holes for each one of the matchups. I gotta say, and I know this is
Here we go. Here comes a controversial comment.
it's not
Here
controversial.
we go. Wait. Can I make a guess? It's going to
Sure.
be something about American fans being obnoxious.
No, because that's
That's
well
too easy.
trodden
That's
ground.
low hanging fruit for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even going to go anywhere. I did think that Bryson and DeChambeau trying to start the USA chant, I don't know if you've seen that, but sort of
Probably not.
practicing with the crowd doing the USA, it's pretty bad. It's ultimately my takeaway is from this. I think, I like to knock the US quite a bit. In part, that's because you hold in most areas this position. You're top of the mountain, you've got you're best in most of the sports that you compete at. You've
Are you
got
talking to me
big,
personally? I appreciate this.
yeah.
I am the
Oh,
top
you're
of the
American. You
mountain.
can golf is the Ryder Cup is the one place where America has to accept that they're the dorks. Like this is, I think, actually the tough thing for the U.S. is, that they want to have the big bad macho persona, and the reality is the European team's way cooler. The European fans are way cooler. And the U.S. is just the
Wait,
big,
where's the evidence for this? Besides Victor Hovland, what are we talking about?
oh, okay, who's the coolest member of the U.S. team? Legitimately cool.
Tiger Woods.
Okay, still playing. Active player.
Doesn't matter. I just trumped any argument you have.
No, because I actually don't think I'd really want to spend that much time with Tiger Woods, aside from
Oh,
the fact that
really?
he's, yeah,
Tiger
I'm not.
Woods 2006. I'd love to spend some time with. That'd be a fucking wild night.
Oh, I'm not that into hookers and cocaine, so I don't know how well I would fit in. But
I'm saying I even got to do it. I just got to hang out. It's going to be entertaining.
yeah, but take fame away. Like Scotty Scheffler, incredible golfer, not a cool guy.
Yeah.
There's nothing, and that's not a knock on him. It's just that whereas I think there's a reasonable number of quite cool people on the European team.
I mean, Colin Morikawa looked fun as hell on Happy Gilmore too.
Morikawa might be the coolest. That's not a good
Xander
one.
Schauffele.
No way. No way.
I mean,
There's no one.
I'm pulling at straws here, Eddie.
That's my point. There's no one really cool on that team. Whereas I think the European team has a number of cool players, and so it's that you just got to accept you're the golf dorks. You dress like dorks when you go to golf. You behave like dorks with your chants. There's no, and that's okay. You can't be kings of the cool in everything that you do. You
Kings of
know,
the cool. I don't know if you can with a statement like that.
so it's just the way it is.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the full roster here so I can read it to our listeners who maybe don't know who the full roster is. Um, okay, so we got Patrick Cantlay,
Nope.
Bryson DeChambeau,
Nope.
Harris English,
No.
Ben Griffin, Russell Henley, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Scotty Scheffler, JJ Spawn, Justin Thomas, Cameron Young.
Not a lot of cool there. Good golfers, nice people. I'm not knocking them in that sense. There's Morikawa might be the coolest of them, and I think he might win by a distance. In all honesty, but there's not a lot of cool there.
All right, so I'll read you then. I'll read you the Team Europe. Rory McIlroy, Robert McIntyre, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Rasmus Hagen, Tyrrell Hatton, Shane Lowry, John Ram, Sepp Straka, Victor Hovland, Ludwig Eiberg, and Matt Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, there's a few cool there.
Yeah,
I have no doubt that if which one of those groups of people would be more fun to go for beers with, it's Europe in a landslide victory. It's not even I'm not thinking twice.
You know what? With that statement you've made, I now want to back my burger and a pint bet.
Okay, but if you win, you have to have that pint with a member of the U.S. Ryder Cup team.
Perfect. If I win, I'm gonna make you wear my prescription glasses, a collared polo buttoned all the way up, tucked into khakis, and we're gonna have to enjoy that burger together.
Fine. I'll claim to be Scotty Scheffler, and people will believe it. But yeah, like I think, and it's tough because honestly, the thing is, it's like when we speak about U.S. soccer fans, is that it feels like people are cosplaying as what they see Europeans do. So with the chants, for example, it's not natural for Americans to have those types of chants and that types of engagement. And so they're envious of what they see Europeans do. And instead of saying, you know what, they got us on that one, let's lean into something else. It's the American ego that takes over and thinks, no, we can still do it better. Those Europeans don't know what's coming. And then we just sit back and awkwardly watch you try and do it. And, no one, I don't think anyone's having fun at that stage.
Hey, we're a young country. We don't have our own traditions yet.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So right now, Europe has taken a slight lead in the betting, but still pretty even.
But Europe started as underdogs. So it's been about a 15% shift in the way of Europe.
Yeah.
Since the start of play. And obviously Europe has the advantage as reigning champions that in the event of a tie, they retain the trophy. So they do have that going for them as well. If they do get into the lead, that there's a bit more pressure there on the US. And yeah, I mean, I'll say this too. And again, I know listeners of the podcast will think that I'm not the biggest fan of the US anyway, but nothing makes me want to watch the US lose more than the Ryder Cup. Like and I also think we benefit. We're not a political podcast. We don't wade into those waters very often. But the thing that's unfortunate, this is where the US has a disadvantage, is that you are an actual country that exists and you're burdened by what's going on within your country and the politics associated with it. So, you have players being asked, oh, Donald Trump's attending. Will you speak to him? Will he give a talk to the team? All those sorts of things. Europe, we get to exist as this vision of a better version of our geographic region that doesn't exactly exist in the way in which the Ryder Cup makes it out, as obviously the United Kingdom is not part of the European Union. So we actually have this, it's a sort of,
so you're cheating.
No, it's just a kind of idealistic vision of the world, whereas the US is just stuck in reality. And so we get to kind of rally around every couple of years and enjoy the idea of being European. I think it's one of the few times that even the most anti-European British people will suddenly be, fully pro-Euro. And we get to enjoy that moment. It's a break from reality. Whereas I think for the US, this is just, oh God, we're going to have to talk about the same old topics here because because the golfers won't shut up a little bit about it either. They do like speaking about some of them. So yeah, I think that's also where it's a different experience supporting one team or the other. And I've been interested to see, there's been a bit of a topic of conversation on social media about whether or not it's acceptable in the Ryder Cup to support the other side. So there's a reasonable number of Americans, not for political reasons, but just because their favorite golfers are Victor Hovland and Tommy Fleetwood.
Who isn't Victor? Or, I don't know how to say that properly, but
just
who
using
doesn't
them
love Victor Hovland?
But just using them, Tommy Fleetwood is so popular. Even Rory's, he's a bit love or hate, but he's mostly loved. So you have a lot of these European golfers who on a weekly basis people are supporting, and then now they're getting asked to, no, please be passionate about Patrick Cantlay. Someone it's a tough one. So I can understand. And there's some people saying that they're going to be supporting Europe, and they're getting a lot of hateful comments from fellow Americans telling them that they're unpatriotic.
Well, I was going to say, is this the only time of the year that you're proud to be French?
No French players. So,
but you're part of Europe.
I actually love that. I get to be full support of Europe in this moment. And France, for the most part, is not a big golfing country. And so the Ryder Cup kind of flies under the radar here. And so you do get to, I get to be a European, non-French person in France who gets to be very pro-European for the weekend and not have to deal with like walking into a bar and a bunch of French people also involved in the Ryder Cup. So this is win 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 for me on all sides. This is, everything's coming up Eddie for this weekend.
Nothing says that you love to be pro Europe than wanting to not celebrate with other Europeans in the
Just French
European
people.
country upon which you live in.
Just French people.
Wow, great camaraderie this Ryder Cup really brings the Europeans together.
Yeah, I just want us to celebrate with other British people, some Irish people, and maybe some Scandinavians. That's the perfect part of Europe.
Yeah, so very early on in that, a lot of matches to be played. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And the other, I mean, before actually we get to the NFL, big college football weekend too. You have two pretty big games.
Yeah, just before I also saw, and I know some of this is trolling. It's rage baiting. It's trying to get people to be active in the comments. But one of the more popular sort of sports Instagram accounts, where I think they podcast, but really they're just creating clips for Instagram, was previewing how big this weekend of sport is because of the Ryder Cup, plus good college football on Saturday, plus some reasonably good NFL games on Sunday. And part of their comment was Europeans wouldn't even understand, which I get it. They're trying to rage bait, and I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I didn't respond. I wasn't going to feed their, I wasn't going to feed their engagement, but I engaged in my heart, and it was just such a bizarre comment because I would say Europe beats U.S. most weekends hands down in terms of how much sport we got going on. So another way, another way in which Europe is always winning, but but yeah, college football.
Do you think the Europeans follow college football?
The Europeans playing in the Ryder Cup? I think a few of them might, because a lot of them will have gone to, a couple of them went to college in
American
the U.S.
College.
So you actually will have.
Yeah, so you have Ole Miss and LSU. It's a battle of two undefeated SEC teams. That's the early-isher game. You have actually Ohio State playing Washington, both undefeated, but Washington isn't even ranked. But at least a decent challenge for Ohio State there. And then you have the two big night games in Oregon at Penn State, both undefeated. Penn State number 3, Oregon number 6. And then you have Alabama and Georgia at Georgia. So Alabama not having the greatest season, but always a good rivalry, Alabama, Georgia. And I'm sure that's almost a game where rivalries don't necessarily even matter. You can have a 3-4 loss team that still puts up a good game there. So yeah.
So what are your predictions for those 4 games?
I think it's going to go chalk. I think LSU, Ohio State, Penn State, and Georgia.
All right.
I think keep it simple. Okay. As Michael Scott told me, keep it simple, stupid.
I did see that UNC and Clemson are playing, which was supposed to be the first really big
Clemson.
But it was supposed to be the first big game of the Bill Belichick era at UNC, sort of, but because of how badly both UNC and Clemson seasons have started, they've moved that to a noon game. Did you see this?
So Bill Belichick's now having nooners?
No, the issue is they had already booked Ludacris to do a pre-game performance. So Ludacris is now performing at 9:45 in the morning.
Luda.
Yeah. And look, in a college environment, people might love that. That actually might be almost more fun. You might have, people really going at it, but that does suck for him as a 50-year-old man now having to try.
Well, I was going to say, at this point, Ludacris might be a senior citizen, so he might be up at 5 a.m. in the morning anyway. I mean, he's got to be pretty old.
He is 48. Just turned 48.
That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, he's been in Fast and the Furious for the last 30 years.
That's actually younger than I thought he was. The fact that he's only 10 years older than me is actually somewhat surprising.
So in 10 years, do you think you could be playing at the UNC Clemson pregame?
At 9:45, sure.
Yeah. You could definitely be like the kicking entertainment. They just bring you in before the game and they just show how far this 48-year-old with no college football experience can kick a ball.
You know, next weekend I'm off to back-to-back sporting events in London. The Saturday I'm going to see the rugby championship, South Africa, Argentina at Twickenham, and then Sunday, Browns Vikings at the Spurs Stadium. I just hope just one of those games give me a halftime kicking competition that I can get involved in. Just please, just a raffle, get me on the field. Just give me a chance to prove myself.
I think that's lowballing it. I mean, I think you should be expecting to be pulled on to the pitch to play. I mean, who knows? The Browns might put out an open tryout. You know, they're in Europe. Why not put out the open tryout?
Well, their kicker did hit a 56-yard game winner last weekend. So,
but Eddie, 56. Come on, you can do that in your sleep. You're talking 70-yarders.
No, I'm good from 50.
Okay, now we're scaling it back a little bit.
No, I've always said that I am adamant that I could consistently hit a 50-yard field goal.
I cannot wait. I'm going to go buy like 6 kicking balls. We're going to put Olivier in the end zone and we're going to go kick.
Now I need a little bit of like, I'm not
saying here come the concessions.
No. The concessions are, I'm not first swing of my foot. I'm not getting a 50-yarder. I might do, but I probably won't. But give me 20 warm-up kicks.
Okay.
Just to kind of feel, because I also haven't kicked a football a lot. And so I also kind of need to figure out exactly where I need to kick it to get the best distance out of it.
I'll tell you this. I'm going to go one step further. I'm even going to buy you the holder, the field goal holder.
Oh, yeah. I'm not trusting you to hold it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to buy you the holder, and then I'm going to stand next to you and just scream in your ear like a fan.
That's fine. You can do the Arteta thing. You can put speakers around this and pump noise in. That's fine. I won't be at all put off by that.
I'm actually going to see if I can get you in the University of Minnesota stadium and see if I can fill the stadium with students. I'll offer them free beer, no matter age.
You'll bankrupt yourself and go to prison. This is a great outcome. And won't see my kicking attempt. But the one other thing, I'd have to buy myself some boots. Like I'm not kicking a 50-yarder in a pair of sneakers. Like that isn't happening.
Just to see you kick, what will probably be like 7 kicks before you pull a groin or something. We're going to spend about $400 on this.
Yes. No, more. Because we would realistically need 4 balls to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, you're just chasing balls all day, you know? So you need 4 balls. I need good balls because otherwise I'm blaming the balls, you know? So I'm not getting the like kids replica ball. I need a proper go at it.
Now, do you want the NFL ball or do you want the NCAA ball? Different balls.
Surprise me.
Okay.
Mix and match, but I want the K balls. You know, I don't want to kick with a ball that's optimized for throwing. You know, I want real, yeah. And look, barefoot, I could do it from 35.
Barefoot, I don't know if I can return those balls though. There's a chance after the day I can send them back to Amazon. If they find out they were kicked barefoot, they might not accept that return.
Wait, hold on. What's the difference there? I'm not kicking it with the bottom of
sanitary. That's the difference.
All right, I got clean feet, but barefoot I would be good from 35. That wouldn't worry me. Although in Minnesota in November, a little cold. I'm not sure, but
yeah, now we're adding some elements in here, Eddie.
Yeah. And we'll see what the wind conditions are. I get to pick which direction I'm kicking in.
Any other concessions?
No, that's it.
Do you require a water boy? Do I have to hire someone to spray the water bottle into your mouth because now athletes can't hold the water bottle themselves?
No, I'll do that myself. That's okay.
I'll see if I can make this happen. The only issue, I mean, you're slightly screwed in the sense that we live literally across from a high school football field. Like it's just across the street. You are lucky though in the fact that they lock it up and we can't get onto that field. So I don't know how we're going to do that. We're going to have to find an open field. Oh,
That doesn't worry me. The balls and the placeholder thing, that's and the boots. I could travel with a boot probably, I guess. I only need a left one.
we can order them on Amazon and return them.
No,
We
no,
order
no.
like $250 worth of kicking stuff from Amazon. We return the next day. We just tell them like,
Changed my mind.
I thought my son could be a kicker. Failed. Please
No,
return.
yeah, no, no. I don't want to contribute to the world's ever-growing bit of waste, but no. Look, I'm confident. 50, I'm confident.
Confident.
Yeah,
Confident in the sense that you could eventually get one, or confident that you don't miss one.
on day one, if let's say I'm give me 20 warm-ups, and then let's say I'm getting 20 attempts from 50, I'm hitting 5 on day one. I'm not missing on the first day of kicking. I'm not insane. I'll put it this way: if I hit 20 in a row, then we're actually going to try and call up a scout. If that's what ends up happening. If I surprise myself with my output, I may never leave Minnesota. This might just be I am calling up every NFL team. I might call the CFL, give me 1 year there, and then see if I can get in. Does someone want? By the time I get in, does someone want a 40-year-old kicker? Is that going to be an endearing story for people? But we'll see.
We'll start maybe if it goes well. We'll try and enroll you into University of Minnesota. See if we can get you into a game in the next week or two. And if that goes well, we then say fuck you to the university and you unenroll, and then you go to the CFL.
Immediately declare for the draft.
Immediately get an agent.
Yeah, I did see there's a 55-year-old playing college football this year. I mean, it's like D3.
I saw that.
It is a guy who just said that he wanted to kind of give it another go. I admire that. More people should do that. All right, moving on to week 3 of the NFL, our previews and predictions, or week 4, sorry. Let's start with a little brief discussion of Thursday night football. Seahawks Cardinals last night. Seahawks won 23-20. I think the main talking point, because I asked for your prediction, it did not come, but I did ask Microsoft Copilot, who was very responsive, for their predictions, and they predicted, or it predicted, he predicted, she predicted, Seahawks 24, Cardinals 20. So off by
it's getting
just
better.
a point.
It's learning. It's getting better. Granted, it did say that Geno Smith was going to throw for the game-winning touchdown, but
it said Geno Smith would kick the game-winning field goal.
So I guess the main talking point is, this sissy football kickoff rule that might have ruined that game. I think with the NFL now, I do like the kickoff rule. I like it, one, in the fact that it forces teams to actually kick into the landing zone or whatever it's called, and not just touch back every play. Like, it adds an element, I think we've talked about it, where now you can't just turn off the television after a team scores. Like, you don't have like a 10-minute break, like, I might have to watch this kickoff, something might happen. So I like that aspect, that it makes teams return it. But I still feel like where they put the ball, if you don't put it in that zone, is a little unfair. Now, I know this is a little different because it went to the 40, because it was like a kick out of bounds rule and not a touchback. So if it was a touchback, it would have went to the 35, but this went to the 40 because it was like they didn't get it in the right spot. I still think that that's unfair. Like, if you put a team on even the 35, that's literally 12 seconds away from being in field goal range. It's 2 6-second passes.
What a weird way to
10-15-yard pass. What?
No, I said what a weird to measure it in
what I'm
seconds.
saying is, like, you literally need almost
not much
no
time left. Oh,
like,
no,
you could
for
have 15
sure.
seconds and 15 seconds left and not even a timeout, and you can still get into field goal range. I'm not going to say easily, but pretty easily.
It's one. I mean, put it this way: if you're going to take an attempt with the way kickers kick now, with time expiring, you are one first down away from having a chance of actually thinking like, let's go for it. And, we're probably not getting it, but maybe, because we are seeing 63, 64 yarders getting kicked. So, and yeah, you look back to last night. Now, here's the thing is, landing in the landing zone should not be that hard. You should
No.
just be able to do that every time. And so, yeah, he only missed the landing zone by a foot, 2 feet, but there's no
Yeah.
reason why he shouldn't have been aiming 5 yards into the landing zone. And I think the NFL would say it's been a positive change. It feels kind of shitty at the end of a game like that it was such a major factor in probably in what the outcome was. But
Yeah.
then in terms of increasing so far this season, 77.7%, very nice number, of
Wow.
kickoffs have been returned, whereas in 2024 that was only 32.8%. So it's
Yeah.
over doubled. So yeah, it's gone. And 2023, which was the year before, last year they'd already tweaked some of the rules. 2023 it was 21.8%. So, and you think a lot of those probably will be desperation returns in the scenarios where you absolutely needed to, versus not, oh yeah, it's the second quarter, let's go for a return.
Yeah. My question though, and I'm sure there is this already in the rule book. What if they had declared an onside kick and then just kicked it like somewhat deep? So
That's
let's say you
interesting.
declare onside kick and then you
And then
just
you
kind of
just
like
squib
squib
kicked
kick
it.
it to like the 20. Did I find a Bill Belichick loophole?
Yeah, I don't know. It is an interesting, if an on if an onside kick goes beyond the setup zone untouched, the kicking team is penalized. So
So no.
yeah,
There we go.
no loophole.
Lost. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's tough. It's coming to the point now where you almost have to win with no time left.
yeah. I mean, legitimately, last night, which they tied the game with 23 seconds left, and the Seahawks had one timeout, and it did have a little bit of that feeling as the running back was going into the end zone of, you almost needed to do the Madden move and go down on the one. I definitely felt like the Cardinals burned a timeout, which, okay, they need to give themselves time. You need to get the play call right, and you have to score. It's always easy to just say like, well, they could have run the clock down. First, they had to score, and most of the time, the Seahawks probably would have not got themselves into kicking range. But that did feel like an unnecessary usage of that timeout. And obviously, as everything then ended up playing out, that would have probably reduced it down to, 7 or 8 seconds left. And, then the Seahawks don't even make an effort to kind of get in field goal range. And who knows? Maybe the Cardinals just lose in overtime. So, the outcome may have ended up being the same anyway. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I think the other interesting, going back to your idea of, do you just onside kick at a certain stage? If they're just going to if
So
they
you
have
just onside kick.
do you just onside kick, when you think to yourself like, there's a realistic chance they get the ball to 40 anyway. So the
Well,
onside
be the
kick.
other 40 though.
But if they're going to be, you know what I mean, like, there's a moment where you say, well, there's a chance here they're almost in field goal range. Like, if you had no timeouts left and you score, and let's say there's 55 seconds left, you almost may as well just onside kick, because that
Because you're going to
team,
lose anyway.
yeah, you're probably going to lose. So you may as well just try and get the ball back. Now, okay, we say this, and then a team 3-and-outs, and
Next week. At least 3 teams will 3-and-out to lose the game.
Yeah, and then you would have said, "Oh, perfect." But yeah, it feels unfortunate. It does feel like more games are being decided by special teams at the moment, and that's an example of it in two ways. But yeah, I still overall think the rule changes are positive.
Yeah. I think you might have to go back to the 30 though on the touchback, because I think part of the reason why last night it wasn't kicked into the landing zone is there's such a fear that if you kick it for a touchback, they were going to get it at the 35. And then ultimately what happened was they fucked up and gave him the ball in the 40. But it was because they were maybe so afraid to actually put a good leg into it and give him the touchback. So I think if you had it at the 30, I think at that point I would probably still be not super afraid that I'm going to kick this, try and get it to like the 5-yard line. But if it goes for a touchback, okay, they still have to go 25 yards, and not 20 yards.
Yeah, but then teams are just taking the touchback and we're back to square one, right? I don't mind. Realistically, if you're the coach, the instruction there should be you're way better over kicking it than under kicking it. So please, please, for the love of God, do not kick this short. Because again, even if you over kick it, as we consistently see on any return attempt, they're usually only getting to the 25, 30 anyway. Like there have been more good returns, but most of them are still only getting to where you would have previously started from. So, and the Cardinals had kicked off after their previous touchdown and the return had gone to the 22. If they'd been able to just repeat that, then I don't know how aggressive the Seahawks are starting from their own 22-yard line with 20-ish seconds and one timeout. You're one incompletion away from deciding, let's just go to overtime because the risks outweigh the rewards at this stage. And you can also be critical of the Cardinals defense, which then that they're going to throw to the sidelines in that scenario, and you let their number one receiver in single man coverage get to the sidelines like that, there's also a failure there just from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah.
So having just looked it up through the first 3 weeks of the NFL this season, 7 games were directly decided by special teams plays in the final minutes of regulation or overtime.
Okay.
That is the record for the most game. Week 3 tied the record for the most games in a single week decided by a game-winning score in the final 3 minutes. So that's since 1970. So yeah, special
That's
teams
impressive.
playing a bigger part in determining outcomes.
Yeah. So getting to our week 4 matchups, Eddie, I just want to put out here, I have 2 abysmal quarterback stats that we'll get to as the games go by, and you can tell me which one you think is the worst one to want to have or to own as we get there.
Sounds good. All right, let's kick things off then with
Dublin, Ireland.
That is true.
The Guinness Bowl.
Yeah, which Aaron Rodgers is super excited to get there and drink Guinness.
You know what? When I saw that Rodgers said he loves Guinness, it in my heart hurt a little bit that I also drink Guinness. I was like, God damn it!
Are you going to boycott Guinness?
Why does he have to say Guinness? But do you believe that to be true? Do you think Aaron Rodgers drinks over under 5 Guinness a year?
I'll go over.
You think?
I think so, yeah.
You don't think he's the guy who has because when I picture Tom Brady and Tom Brady was like, yeah, I'll have some beer. I picture Tom Brady having like a lager every 4 months, like 1 pint, and that's it. You don't think Rodgers is the same?
No, I think the difference there is Tom Brady has always been, he hasn't eaten strawberries and stuff. He's thinking so much about his body. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is thinking about his body in that same way. Now, he will take ayahuasca to mess with his mind and try and help him from that perspective. Like, I don't think he's averse to doing things to try and give himself an advantage. But there's a period in time where I think Aaron Rodgers, going back to the dork conversation, probably would have been a reasonable fun to go for a beer with. So, and he did say as part of that interview that he's trying to get the Steelers to go for more drinks together and thinks that teams that drink together win together. I'm a pretty firm believer in this fact, and I actually think it's one of the things that society as a whole is losing as younger generations are drinking less, is that people aren't, you do need to just like get a little drunk together, loosen up a little bit, and that builds bonds in a way that you can't. And I'm not saying everyone needs to drink. It
builds bonds or it builds sexual assault charges, one of the two.
Sure, there's a balance. I'm not sure the Steelers are dealing with a lot of inter-team sexual assault charges, but maybe.
Yeah, because a bunch of 20-year-old juiced out men getting drunk at a bar
Oh,
isn't going to
juiced
have
out.
issues.
Oh, wow. Real accusations being thrown at the Steelers now.
Sorry,
Sexual
I'll
assaulting
phrase it
steroid
yoked
users.
out, yoked out.
Oh, okay. They'll probably accept that. Um, Look, you're right. There's a balance there, but and this is a conversation for a different podcast. But I also think as we deal with people feeling more lonely, in part it is like, hey, just go for some drinks with people and loosen up. Like, and I can understand that as a team, with the way in which we focus so much now on professionalism and the expectation that professional athletes are kind of perfect throughout seasons, but that you would want to say, hey, you know what'd be good after a loss or after a win is we just get a couple beers together in a car park outside of an ice
Someone bring the
hockey
cooler.
rink. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that will make us, that makes that bond that little bit tighter and maybe helps us to overcome some adversity. I can kind of get that. And I think that he's sort of old school enough in that respect to genuinely believe that.
I feel like Dan Campbell encourages that. I bet you if someone proposed that to the Lions, Dan Campbell would be like, I'll bring the cooler next week.
He might require it. It's like the two things.
He's a little fucking nutty, but I kind of love it.
Yeah, two things this team requires. One, we go for it on fourth down, and two, after every game, you have to drink at least 10 beers. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you can find a different team.
And he's the guy who's then waking up at like 6 a.m, no hangover, and is at the gym just bench pressing like 405. Like he is that guy. He is one of those guys who is blessed with the never getting a hangover and never feeling like shit.
Man, someone's got a little bit of a crush.
No, but
All
you
right.
can just tell with people like that.
All right, so
Yeah, I'm just jealous. I'm not that way.
Vikings at Steelers in Dublin. And the Vikings, are 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Vikings here. Steelers through 3 games have not looked that great. Their defense looks very porous. 32 plays of at least 20 passing yards or 15 rushing yards this season. So letting up big plays on both aspects of the ball, both passing and rushing. I don't think the Vikings right now are great offensively, especially with Carson Wentz, the backup although JJ McCarthy wasn't doing that great. I think Jordan Addison coming back is going to be huge for the Vikings. That's a really big second threat receiver and will open up the game for Jefferson. So I think the Vikings will take this, but I will put a lot of caution on this. This is almost the equivalent of a Thursday night game where almost anything can happen and you really can't trust a normal outcome here. So kind of a stay away betting game, I think, and maybe just a wake up early, throw a prop bet maybe on Jefferson to score a TD and just watch an early football game and be happy to get an extra 4 hours of football.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think people are so cautious about these international games now, but realistically, we've been doing them for so long that I think teams know how to handle them. And you're also dealing with a scenario here. The Vikings are playing back-to-back games in Europe. So this is just their home base now for 2 weeks. Who knows when they flew out, probably Monday or Tuesday, so I see no reason to think that we have to kind of put an asterisk as to how predictable are these games.
I mean, we've been playing Thursday night football for 15 years and they still get the wackiest results.
Yeah, but that's because you're dealing with teams playing 3 days after and with little time to prepare for their next opponent. Whereas, this time around they've had plenty of time or a normal amount of time to go through that preparation. Yeah, I mean, I'm cautious to trust Carson Wentz too much, but this Vikings defense is legitimately good. We speak about it every week. And against an aging Aaron Rodgers who has looked bad at times, the Steelers' offense has looked okay, but they've definitely had some pretty bad moments. I'd be worried in terms of the way in which they hide. Like you can go and look at all the clips where in the like pre-snap, the Vikings change from cover 2 to cover 3 and then back again. And so from a quarterback perspective, sort of making the right read and knowing exactly what you're up against is such a massive challenge. I think the Vikings will win this and maybe comfortably. So I'll take the Vikings to win and the Vikings to cover.
Real quick, I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna make a co-pilot Sam like prediction here and say that there will be a pick six in this game. That might be what I bet as my prop bet. Vikings defense to score a touchdown.
Well, co-pilot Sam does not have that type of prediction. It has the Vikings beating the Steelers 21-20. So a thriller.
Wow. So
and says that the
Steelers cover.
This Vikings squeak by in Dublin thanks to a late defensive stand and clutch field goal. And its key stat for this game is that the Steelers defense has given up a league high number of explosive plays. So that's plays of over 20 yards or
are you kidding me? Is it really just listen to what I say?
Yeah. So 32 plays of 20 yards or more.
Fucking just said the same shit, co-pilot.
All right, up next.
You're not helping us, co-pilot. Read the room, asshole.
We have the Panthers at the Patriots, and the Patriots are 5.5-point favorites.
This was a tough one. I kind of went back and forth on a little bit here. A game I'm not going to bet, a game I'm not going to watch. But do we believe that the 30, whatever it was, 30-0, or I can't even remember what the final score was, thromping that the Panthers gave the Falcons last week is legitimate? Or was that going to be their best game that the Panthers play all year? I don't know. This ties into one of the worst QB stats, one of the two. This is the first one, and that is that Bryce Young is 1-14 in his first 15 career road starts. That is actually tied with 3 other quarterbacks who also posted a 1-14 road start career record, which is insane to think about, that you have a quarterback lasting that long being 1-14 on the road. That is horrendous.
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy statistic. And yeah, I
was adding in my prediction.
That is true.
I don't know. I don't know if he can reverse that, but I'm going to, I kind of have to be out on the Patriots now. I think 5.5 is a little egregious. I'll take the Patriots to win. I'll take the Panthers to keep it close.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to give this one.
Wow. A lot of games that could have went for. I hope there's multiple ones this week. I really do.
There might be multiple.
Spoiler alert.
Early usage of the horn. But I just think this is a bad game between two non-playoff teams with, very few compelling storylines to really draw on. Usually you at least have the idea of, oh, this is a rookie quarterback finding his feet, or there's this, younger player and who has potential that we can at least keep an eye on. And here, I don't really feel that way. It just feels like these are two bad teams who, if given time to develop, might become mediocre in 2 or 3 seasons' time. So that's not particularly exciting. I agree with you that 5.5 points is a lot, and this is undoubtedly the only time that the Patriots are going to be favored by 5.5 points this season. But I think last week was the anomaly for the Panthers, and that this Patriots defense is okay. Their run game is pretty good, and the Panthers' run defense is bad. It's 28th in the league. So they're allowing 142.7 yards on the ground per game. So I think that the Patriots will just sort of control the tempo of this one and get the win. And I'll take them to win and to cover. Co-pilot has not provided us with a score prediction. I'm going to have to ask it.
It doesn't even want to watch. It said, fuck this game.
It has. Oh, it's working. Patriots 20, Panthers 16.
Oh, Panthers cover.
Yeah, it agrees with you. And it says that New England's defense overwhelms Bryce Young, giving the Patriots a much-needed bounce-back win. From there, we move on to the Browns at the Lions, and the Lions are 9.5-point favorites.
This is a game where Cleveland now comes in having beat the Packers, ruined many people, including myself, survivor pick. They've looked great on defense. They're allowing 204 yards per game. But I think this is the game where they get fucking thromped. You have the Lions coming in, who rank second in scoring and first in EPA per play. They are finding their groove. I think now I know this is an overreaction to 1 week, but even though the Packers beat the Lions in week 1, I am starting now to feel that the Lions are the better team still in that
I agree with
situation.
you. I put a Super Bowl bet on the Lions based on what we saw from them on Monday
Great.
night.
I love it. It's a great move. I honestly think that we discredited them a little bit in the fact that, I mean, we didn't discredit them. I think we both thought they would do very well, but we both picked the Packers to finish better. But I think we're discrediting a little bit of how good that offense is when they're on and just how unstoppable they are. But how much all the injuries on defense last year really affected their defense, and that having a, let's just say, top 15 defense this year will ultimately be a huge plus for them, where last year they were literally starting people off the streets in the playoffs, let alone in the regular season. So I think this is going to be an absolute thromp fest, and I will take the Lions plus 20 or minus 20. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. Plus 20 is not so ambitious.
I'll take the Lions plus 20. What are the odds on that? No, I honestly think that this is going to be, the Lions are going to put up 30 plus here. And I think this is going to be one of those games where no matter what the Browns try and do to stop them, they just can't. And there's no way the Browns can keep up with them.
Yeah, I mostly agree with you. I think the tough thing for this, from a Browns perspective, is not only are they facing one of the fastest, most dynamic offenses in the league, and every time, over the last couple of years, you and I have routinely commented that just when the Lions are rolling, they just look so fast, like just across the board, everything they do, and it's just kind of scary. And you saw that on Monday night, where just they get, multiple running backs kind of coming at you, and they just look lightning quick and just a step faster than everybody else. But yeah, I think not only are they facing an offense that, even against a good, I'm not going to overreact next week and thinking that this Browns defense has been exposed and that the first 3 weeks they weren't as good. This is a good defense, but I do think the Lions will score a lot of points against them. But I think their offense is just going to put this Browns defense in such a hole time and time again. The Lions defense is the best on third down, so only 28% of third downs against them are being converted for first downs. So I just think this is going to be punts and turnovers all day from the Browns. And so I agree with you that the Lions will win and win big. So I'll take them to win and take them to cover. And co-pilot Sam has the Lions winning 28-17. Detroit's offense stays hot while Cleveland's inconsistency continues.
Lions to cover. Co-pilot Sam agrees. It's a big three. It's the big three there.
Yeah, it's true. Not sure if that's a good thing or not. After that, we have the Chargers at the Giants. It feels like every week you get put in the uncomfortable position of having to pick one of your loves against the other. The Chargers are 6.5-point favorites.
Let's go. Big times for New York Giant fans. They get to watch a promising QB get absolutely demolished in his first game as a starter. This is tough. This is really tough. I don't know why they picked this week to start him. The Chargers have a sneaky good pass defense. I think they ranked 8th or 9th in yards per game. Like under, I think it's 182. I have it right here. So a good pass defense, 3-0. They look hot. They're going to put up points. They're going to force Jackson Dart to want to put up points. And I don't know if the first thing you want to have your rookie QB do is to try and chase points in a game here. It's just not a good scenario. I don't. They could have just waited a few more weeks, but I guess Dayball thinks that this is going to save his job. We'll see. It's at Giants. I will take the Chargers to win. I will take the Giants to keep it close. I would love to see a Giants win. Don't get me wrong, and I would love to see Jackson Dart just ball out. But I need to I need to level my expectations a little bit here, so that if it does happen, I can be happy. But that if he does get crushed, I don't get more angry and sad than I am already at being a Giants fan.
Yeah, it's a weird team to pick for him to start against, but then looking at their schedule, I can kind of understand. The only argument is that next Sunday they play the Saints, and that's the game. But I guess you could say letting him get a game in prior to that and not coming in with a sort of debut pressure, because then if he doesn't get up to speed as fast as you hope, and then he loses against the Saints, then pressure is back on him. And then after that, they've got the Eagles, the Broncos, the Eagles again, the 49ers. So things don't get any easier from him in terms of the types of defenses that he might be facing. But I got some good news for you, because co-pilot Sam says Chargers dominate the trenches, and rookie quarterback Jackson Dart leads them to a comfortable victory over the winless Giants.
Does that mean the Giants got Justin Herbert? Because now let's go.
I don't know what's happening here. I don't know if that's just co-pilot Sam throwing a huge amount of shade at Jackson Dart and the Giants, and that they don't even need to worry about, the Chargers don't need to worry about their own offense. I think the Chargers win and win big here. They're just better than the Giants in every facet. And I know you have to do it because of your Giants allegiances, but the reality is, if you're going to be big on the Chargers, you have to be confident that these are the types of games that they just go out and take care of business. If they don't in this week, then, some of the bandwagon is going to start to fall apart a little bit there.
I agree with you, but I honestly think that Jackson Dart will be so much of a spark for this team that they will overplay. I think if this were Russell Wilson starting, I think the Chargers win by 15. I think if this is Jackson Dart having played already a few games and being 0-3 and kind of being beat down a little bit, I think the Chargers win by 15. But you have a guy here who clearly already has the locker room. Like, people love him. They get excited. He's on the sidelines, like, jumping at people. Like, Malik Neighbors seems to love him. I think just putting him out there and, like, that young kid swagger he has will really carry that team, at least for this game. And I think that alone will keep this a slightly close game, just because there'll be so much buzz with him there starting, and like just the energy he's going to provide.
Okay. But this is an offense that's averaged 13.3 points per game. So let's say he is a 10-point boost, which is an incredible improvement at quarterback. They still lose, and they might still lose big. And the Chargers have 11 sacks through 3 games. So
yeah, not good. Yeah. That's my worry. And this is what will anger me more than anything, is if they rush to put him out there and just fucking get him hurt. Like, that would be the stupidest thing you could do. And again, this is why I don't know why you don't start with the Saints. I don't know why you start with a team that has a great pass rush and a good pass defense. Like, why put him out on the toughest game probably of these first 3 games?
Well, speaking of the Saints, they're up next. They are at the Bills, and the Bills are 15.5-point favorites.
Yikes.
I don't think there's too much to say here. I mean, that's the only argument could be is that, as we discuss on a routine basis, once you start to get spreads that high, then you might be worthwhile taking the points, because you can lose by 15 and be absolutely dominated. But I'm going to take the Bills to win and the Bills to cover, just on the basis that I think the Saints have checked out already for the season, and this could be 30-0 at halftime. There's just the only way that this stays close if just the Bills have taken their eye off the ball and are looking ahead to other matchups and, kind of go through the motions over the course of this game. But, they should just be so much better than the Saints. I can't imagine this. I'll take the Bills to win and the Bills to cover.
Well, Josh Allen, Eddie, he knows that this isn't a game you can look over. He said they're going to have their ears pinned back. They want to win as badly as anybody in the league right now. And again, there's no easy games in this league. So he is not overlooking this game. The Bills have gone 8 straight games without a turnover, which is pretty impressive. And it's tied for the longest streak in NFL history with the 2024 Chiefs, who did that as well. Here's my second terrible QB stat of this week, Eddie. And that is given to us by Spencer Rattler, who is now 0-9 as an NFL starter. How many games do you have to go before it's just not going to happen?
I mean, I don't blame him. The team's so bad, right? But yeah, there's a point
Yes,
where,
but still.
I
What
mean,
would you rather be? 0-10 as a starter or 1-14 on the road?
0-10. Because
You'd rather be 0-10.
yeah, because 1-14 on the road, that means that you're playing close to 30 NFL games, and that you're well into you maybe 2 almost complete seasons. So yeah, the 0-10, that could just be a bad rookie year, right? So, but the Microsoft Copilot agrees with us. It has the Bills winning 34-13. Josh Allen and the Bills dominate from start to finish in a lopsided affair. After that, we have the Eagles at the Buccaneers.
Wait. What was Copilot's score prediction?
34-13. So it has them covering. Eagles at the Buccaneers, and the Eagles are 3.5-point favorites.
Yeah, 3-0 versus 3-0. Good matchup here. In Tampa Bay, the Eagles 1-3 in Tampa Bay. Jalen Hurts 1-4 in his career against the Bucks. So Hurts doesn't play well against the Bucks, and the Eagles do not play well in Tampa Bay. But don't worry, they flew out a day early to get acclimated to the weather. So they flew out on Friday. Normally they would fly out on Saturday. But what I enjoyed was they asked the defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, about it. And he said, you don't practice in heat one day and say you're acclimated, or take a pill and say you're acclimated. So I guess Vic Fangio didn't really agree with that philosophy.
Yeah,
But
I mean, it's what we always say, right? When these teams try and travel a day or two before to somehow get themselves adjusted to playing in the snow, and things like that. But I don't know, the heat I feel like most of these players will have played college football or grown up playing in hot, humid conditions just because of where a lot of those big, college football programs tend to be based. So this concerns me less than the idea of going and playing in December in Green Bay and dealing with a snow game that you may never have encountered really in your life. I think this is where the Buccaneers get a little shot to the system here. I think they're lucky to be 3-0, as are the Eagles. But this Buccaneers team, we spoke about it last week, they're losing members of their offensive line. This is a nasty, defensive front seven for the Eagles. The Eagles have 7 takeaways so far this season. Baker Mayfield isn't turning the ball over, but he's ridden his luck in terms of on that front with dropped interceptions, should have been picks that he's got away with. So I think this one gets ugly fast. I think the Eagles win this comfortably. 10+ points win for the Eagles.
Oh, this is where we disagree, Eddie. I'm just not feeling the Eagles this season. I think eventually the cracks are going to spread. And why not in 90-degree weather with 68% humidity? I'm going to take the Bucks here to win. And I'm going to take the Bucks to cover.
All right.
Baker Mayfield, another game-winning drive.
Well, the Microsoft Copilot has the Eagles winning, but not covering, because it has the Eagles winning 27-24. A heavyweight showdown ends with a clutch drive from Jalen Hurts, and also says that in a clash of undefeateds, the Eagles' balanced attack proves too much for Tampa Bay in a shootout. Next up, we have, I guess I have to do it, Titans at Texans. And the Texans are 7.5-point favorites. I'll keep this one short on my end, which I think the Titans are just such an absolute disaster, similar to the Saints. The Texans haven't been good so far, but there is talent there. And I think this is where they get their first win of the season. I expect them to win, and I expect them to cover and keep themselves in with a slim chance of maybe winning that division.
Yeah. Uh, Texans offense doesn't look great. Texans defense still is playing decently, only allowing 17 points per game, 9 sacks, which is fourth in the NFL, and that's going against a Titans offense that allows the league lead in sacks, 15 already for Cam Ward, so not looking good there. I think because of that, I'll take the Texans to win. Is it 7 or 7.5?
Seven
What'd
and
you
a
say?
half.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take the Texans to cover that.
All right. Well, we've had one of the co-pilot slip-ups on this one because its preview includes Derrick Henry struggling, which I guess is true. Don't know why it's relevant to this game. Defense vulnerable to big plays for the Titans. And for the Texans, CJ Stroud continues breakout, which I don't know what it is. Is he breaking out from his good reputation? Is that what he's trying to do? Uh, but
Co-pilot Sam just has an agenda against Derrick Henry. He probably slipped it into like 4 other
yeah.
predictions.
But it has the Texans winning but not covering. Texans 26, Titans 19. CJ Stroud leads a balanced attack as Houston pulls away late. And then the last of the, I'd say early games, but I guess the middle games or second set of games, given the Dublin game, is the Commanders at the Falcons, and the Commanders are 1.5-point favorites.
I'll keep this one short. I'm still fucking pissed off about the Falcons' shitty 30-0 loss against the Panthers, and now I hope they get their fucking ass handed to them by the Commanders. So I'm going to take the Commanders to win and the Commanders to cover.
Wow, a lot of sound logic going into that preview.
No, I think they're just clearly. I think the Commanders have a better roster, a better team, and I think maybe that Falcons loss against the Panthers kind of showed that Penix and that team isn't really ready to be a competitive team for that division. So I think the Commanders are better.
Yeah, I mean, I'll side with you, but this is a game that absolutely should not be bet on, just given the unpredictability of the Falcons. So I will take the Commanders. I do think the Commanders are a much better team overall, and that quality will shine through. So I'll take the Commanders to win and the Commanders to cover. Co-pilot disagrees with us. It has the Falcons winning 23-17. Bijan Robinson powers Atlanta to a home win against a shaky Washington defense. So shots fired at your previous statement there. Up next, we have the first of the later games. It's the Colts at the Rams. Two teams that I do not trust ever. And the Rams are 3.5-point favorites. I think, look, at some point, this wonderful story with the Colts is
Don't say it, Eddie.
It's going to start to come to a slight end, and as nice as the Daniel Jones rejuvenation is,
don't say it, Eddie.
The fact that they don't punt, but this Rams defense is legitimately good. And as long as I think the theme of most of my Rams picks are going to be as long as this Rams team is pretty healthy, then they are a good team. And I just think they will smother this Colts team. So I will take the Rams to win and the Rams to cover. The only thing that's going to keep the Colts in this game is the fact that the Rams offense, whilst it's good, is not explosive. So you're not going to see the Rams score 30, 35 points. But, I could see this being sort of Rams 24, Colts 14, something along those lines, where the game is never out of sight, but also never really in doubt.
Yeah. Who would ever have thought that Sean McVay would say this? He's obviously got the mobility to be able to make you pay as a runner, but I think he's reading very well with his feet. He throws the ball with great accuracy and anticipation. Who would have ever thought that McVay or any coach would have said that about Daniel Jones last year going into this year? But that is currently the case. However, Daniel Jones has been lifted by the fact that he's only been sacked twice this year, which in the Giants, that would have been the equivalent of like 1/4 of what he would have taken. So the Rams have a much better defense than what they've played so far. The Rams get to the quarterback a lot. They have a really good front four. I think they will get to him. I think they will have him get PTSD of his times in at the Giants, getting hit left and right from every direction. I think the Rams will burst the Colts bubble here as well. I think the Rams will win, and I think the Rams will cover.
All right. Well, co-pilot. On a similar quarterback quotes, I did see this week that there was uh, Mike Tomlin was speaking about what he said. He said to his team going into a game against the Colts last season, and his instructions included keep Anthony Richardson upright. Don't put Joe Flacco in the game. Now that's
That's awesome.
what what a difficult thing to hear as a quarterback is that they were worried that you would actually be replaced. The co-pilot has the Rams winning 24-20. Stafford and the Rams outlast a feisty Colts team on the road. Up next, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the San Francisco 49ers. And the 49ers are 3.5-point favorites, which 3.5 is the magic number in this week. So many games are, those basic toss-ups. For the 49ers, injury concerns still there. This week, Brandon Ayuk, they came out and said he's nowhere near to being back. I don't think there's a lot improving there on that front, but I have a lot of faith in this defense. Robert Saleh coming back and just how consistent they look and their ability to limit teams to points, limit the points that they score, force key turnovers. They've had an interesting shift this season in that they're now using 3 safeties, which is a change from the way in which the Niners defense has worked over the last few years. I think this is a game where both teams have a lot of kind of unknown and inconsistencies within them, but the only thing that I can really trust is this Niners defense. And so on the basis of that, I will take the Niners to win and the Niners to cover, and that Mac Jones and this offense can, score the 20 to 25 points necessary to win this game by, 4 to 7 points.
Yeah, another game where I think the Niners get lucky with who they're playing here. I would be very concerned if I thought they were playing a legitimate contending team here. I just don't think the Jaguars. I mean, they are 2-1, but I do not think they're very good. You skipped over your big injury, which is Nick Bosa, who's out for the year with a torn ACL.
I don't really know with Bosa. The reality is for Bosa now is he probably just needs to be cut because this is the 3rd time he's torn his ACL in a season, which is tough. And I read one Niners beat reporter who wrote if Nick Bosa had 4 knees, he would have torn his ACL 8 times, and which is an interesting way of explaining it. But realistically, Bosa occasionally is obviously a difference maker, and he has to be accounted for by that offense, by offensive lines, and that's definitely a benefit. But he hasn't been as impactful over the last season or two, in part because he's rarely on the field. But that doesn't concern me as much. There are members of this defense that I would worry about more.
But here's what I don't get that, because 2024 he played 14 games. 2023 he played 17 games. 2022 he played 16 games. 2021 he's played 17 games. So in 1, 2, 3, 5, the last 5 seasons, including this season, he's played almost the entire season. So he's like, I think people think he's always injured, but he's really not always injured. He's just not very effective anymore. Maybe because of his previous injuries, but in the last 4 years to only miss 3 games is enormous. That's crazy. Like, that's pretty impressive for an NFL player. So I don't think it's that he always gets injured. I just don't think he's that impressive anymore. He had 18 sacks in 2022, but only 10 in 2023 and only 9 in 2024. So I just think he's declining. And I think it's a little crazy that Fred Warner, his quote saying that losing Nick's a big deal. He's one of the best players, not just on our team, but on the planet. I mean, I like Nick Bosa, but no offense to Bosa, I don't think he's a top 5 D end in the league anymore. So I don't know how you say he's one of the best players on the planet.
These are the things you have to say. What's he supposed to say? We'll be fine without Nick Bosa.
Yeah. That's what you say. Say no big loss. Just another injury on our list of 5,000 injuries we accumulate in a year. The good news is that I did see that when they don't have Bosa, they blitz almost like 50% more. So they blitz on 32% of the downs. And that should be great against Trevor Lawrence, who has thrown 13 interceptions when blitz since 2021, which is third most amongst quarterbacks in that time span. So Trevor Lawrence not good against the blitz, and leave it to Salah, I'm sure, to put in some interesting blitz combos there to really mess with Trevor Lawrence. And I'll take the Niners to win here and to cover. But I mean, I'm just worried for next week who's going to drop out for the Niners that we're going to have to hear about to make it even worse.
You're talking about it way more than I am. It's not even a topic for me. I just have total faith that the team's just going to keep winning. Co-pilot has the Jags winning this one. Has the Jags winning 23-20. Jacksonville stunned San Francisco with a late game takeaway and field goal.
Ooh, I like that. Stuns them.
Yeah. Up next, one of the better games, maybe the best game of the Sunday lineup, Ravens at Chiefs. And the Ravens are 2.5-point favorites. I'm just going to be quick here. I am all in on the Baltimore Ravens. This is the bounce back. This offense, I know all week people have spoken about it, how this is a historically good offense relative to what their record is, that with 1,000, the yards that they're putting up and the number of points that they're scoring, it's a historical anomaly to have 100 points and have a losing record through 3 weeks and all the rushing yards they have, and Lamar Jackson with the number of touchdowns he's thrown without an interception, everything about it is the only thing in the kind of statistical column that doesn't make sense is the wins and losses. They are just going to manhandle this Chiefs team, who must be so disappointed to have seen, what I say, take a good team after a loss, take a good team playing against a team that they would just love to absolutely beat after a loss. This is going to be a statement victory for the Ravens. It's going to be hard for anyone after this one to even pretend that the Chiefs are playoff contenders, never mind Super Bowl contenders. So I'll take the Ravens to win. Ravens by 15 or more points on this one. Derrick Henry, 3 touchdowns. He bounces back.
Is he actually going to play, or is he going to get benched again like he did at the end of the last game?
He bounces back big time from his fumble problems. Maybe at one point he just fumbles just to hand the ball off to Patrick Mahomes so that he can feel a little bit better. But other than that, this is just going to be a dominant performance.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they do get a win, because the Ravens are 1-5 versus Patrick Mahomes, who's thrown 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions against the Baltimore defense. So Mahomes really does have the Ravens number. And I think that's what's keeping this spread closer than what it should be, because I think just by the eye test, the Ravens do look like a much superior team. The only thing I'll say that worries me about the Ravens is they ranked last in the NFL right now on their defense. So defensively, they are not playing well. You have to take into consideration they've played probably 2 of the best offenses in the NFL, in the Bills and the Lions. So a little unfortunate in that sense. The Chiefs are not the Bills. They are not the Lions. And I think one reason that they're definitely not either of those teams is they cannot run the ball. It's crazy to me that they just don't want to run. They can't run. Nothing about their run game is good. And they're relying on Mahomes then to have to throw to Juju Smith-Schuster, who was good 7 years ago, and Tyquan Thornton, who has been cut by multiple teams, and Hollywood Brown, who was good on the Ravens in 2014 or whenever that year was he was drafted. So it's they have Xavier Worthy coming back, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I'll take the Ravens to win and the Ravens to cover. Yeah, this could get ugly here for Kansas City.
Welcome to the club. The co-pilots just lost the plot here. It has the Chiefs winning 30-24. Mahomes outguns Lamar Jackson in a thrilling primetime, not even a primetime game, shootout. So who knows what's happening there. And then the last of that slate of games, we have the Bears at the Raiders, and the Raiders are 1.5 point favorites. I don't really know what to make of this Bears team. They have good moments, they have bad moments. Last week they looked really, really good, but then, and even within games, they'll have a quarter or two where the offense looks good, the defense looks good, and then things just kind of fall apart. But overall, I do have a reasonable amount of faith in them and Caleb Williams. I think they'll have too much for this Raiders team, so I'll have the Bears to win.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't think the Raiders are very good. I'll take the Bears to win and the Bears to cover. Caleb Williams also 1-8 on the road as a QB, so he's slowly reaching Bryce Young numbers.
And Copilot has the Bears winning 21-17. Says Fields makes key plays down the stretch to give Chicago the edge. So again, who knows what's going on here with Copilot. Moving on to Sunday Night Football. We have the Packers at the Cowboys, and the Packers are 6.5 point favorites. This feels like it should be more. Good team coming off a loss. Micah Parsons, going back to Dallas, says he doesn't look forward to sacking Dak Prescott, but I'm sure it will happen at least on one occasion. And I think that this is a statement win from the Packers. And we see, the Cowboys have done up until last week, kind of did reasonably well to make things look as if it was, the season might be better than expected. But I think where the slide has well and truly started, and that we're just going to see some bad performances over the next few weeks from them.
Yeah, the only worry for the Packers is they have some injuries up front on the offensive line, and they're a team that likes to run the ball and play off of play action a lot. So if they can't run the ball well, it could be a slight issue, but the Cowboys defense is very porous. And I agree with you. The Packers coming off a loss will be more motivated. And Micah Parsons might not look forward to sacking Dak Prescott, but I'm sure he's looking forward to embarrassing Jerry Jones. And I think that's going to outweigh his love for Dak Prescott. And I think Micah Parsons could have a pretty big game here. And I think the Packers will win this comfortably. So I'll take the Packers to win in a cover.
And good news. Oh, well, gives Copilot its chance. Packers 31, Cowboys 17. Green Bay rolls behind Jordan Love as Dallas struggles without CeeDee Lamb. But yeah, good news. We get 2 Monday Night Football games again, which is just the best thing ever. Those overlapping unnecessary doubleheaders. And the first of which is, this is rare. It's the triple.
What a week.
A Monday Night Football game that I don't want to see a second of. It's the Jets at the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are 2.5 point favorites. I don't know. These are two teams in disarray, and two teams where it's difficult to find any positives from what they've really shown so far. The only thing I guess I'll say is that this is either the end of everything for the Dolphins because this loss is just a complete nuclear blow up, or a home game against a bad team with an extra day to prepare might just be the thing they need in order for their offense to kind of click into gear. So I'll give them that small vote of confidence on that basis and say that, Tua and that offense scores a few points, and that's too much for the Jets to keep pace with.
This is the first time in NFL history that there are two teams that are 0-3 and both have 0 takeaways this season. So not playing so well defensively. This is a terrible game. And actually, sometimes I feel you need a break from watching so much football, and you kind of have like a nice excuse here to take a Monday off. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch Task on Monday night now instead of Tuesday night when I normally have to, because I can't watch it on Sunday night when it's released. But I will be able to watch it on Monday because I'm not going to watch this game. There's just no motivation to it. I will not bet this either. I'm going to go just with a bet of my heart here and say that I am going to take the Jets to win and the Jets to cover, because I would like to see Mike McDaniels get fired after this game. I think that would be the most entertaining outcome of this game.
That's some positive energy out there. Well, the co-pilots in my camp, it says Dolphins 24, Jets 20. Tua finally delivers as Miami escapes with a much-needed win. And to wrap things up, we have the Bengals of the Broncos, a game that a couple weeks ago looked like it would be a nice matchup, but without Joe Burrow, not so much. And the Broncos are 7.5-point favorites.
Yeah, again, this is part of my not really feeling like watching this on Monday night. The allure of Bo Nix and what's his name? No, I can't think of the quarterback's name. Jake Browning. Jesus Christ. I had like a little brain fog there. It's already out of my mind. That's why. This is a good matchup for the Broncos here because they don't have to face Burrow. But I don't think the Broncos are very good. I will take the Broncos to win, but I'll take the Bengals to cover.
I don't know how you can see what happened to this Bengals offense and their ability to turn the ball over last week and think that they are going to stay competitive against no matter what holes you want to pick in the Broncos defense so far this season has still looked pretty good. You know, the criticism can be of Bo Nix and throwing away late game situations, but their defense continues. Is it as good as maybe was expected? No, but it's a top 5 NFL defense in most categories. So, you know, I think this is just going to be another mess from this Bengals offense. And I see no reason to think that they can keep it even remotely close. And if anything, I think for you as a bigger Bo Nix doubter than I am, the fear here is that this is a primetime game that the Broncos absolutely dominate. And then the Bo Nix craze kind of gets a little bit of a resurgence. But yeah, I think the Bengals will struggle here, the Broncos to win and the Broncos to cover emphatically. And co-pilot has the Broncos winning 27-21. So
Covering.
No, but then doesn't even know who's playing because it says Russell Wilson stays efficient and the Broncos capitalize on a shaky Bengals defense to secure the win. So,
did co-pilot just get the stuff from last year? Is it pulling stuff from last year?
Sometimes, and I specify the season when I make the prompt, and it's just weird because from one game to another, and it's all coming from the same prompt and same predictions, it will be really highly specific to this season and then just loses all concept of time and space when it kind of deals with a different game.
See, I think what we should have done is I should have also picked an AI, and then we should have battled our AIs against each other.
Okay, well, next season that can be our gimmick. We can stop participating at all. We'll just completely contribute to the dead internet theory. But yeah, that wraps up the NFL for the week. Not the best week of games, but a couple decent ones in there.
No, not the best week for sure. But you can offset that with some good college football, hopefully.
Yeah, and the Ryder Cup. If anything, it's kind of nice because the Ryder Cup will be going on and hopefully still be close when the NFL games are being played. So that's
can you get the Ryder Cup in the quad box? Is the question.
Yeah, Scott Hansen, can he just do the Ryder Cup instead?
That would be fun.
Now, I don't have time, unfortunately, to do our little task summary, so we'll have to save that for next week and do episode 3 and 4, I guess, as a combined response.
My thing cut out. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I was just saying I didn't have time to cover task anyway. I got a call to join anyway, so we can just do the quick wrap up and then.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, at least that's something for listeners to look forward to, so we can speak about that next episode.
All right, sounds good. I guess with that, we'll call it a day. I'll talk to you later.
See ya. Cheerio.